Greetings, students. This is Mr. Kosik here. We're going to continue our look at social trends and social patterns, but one of the ways we want to explore this a little bit more in depth is looking at socialization. How do we become the people we become? We can't follow social trends unless we are the people in society, so we're going to break this down a little bit further. So think about this. Which institution most influences you in the decisions you make in your daily life? What is it that influences you to give to the less fortunate, or to buy new clothes, to work hard in school, or to understand the meaning of life? What is it that makes you choose who you date or decide on your future career? Where do these influences come from? What do they do for us, and how do they help shape who we are in society? This is a process we call socialization, whereby you are taught how to be part of society. So there's a couple different ways we have socialization, one being primary. This sets the groundwork for all of your future socialization. This usually happens at the first stage. Well, it always happens in the first stage. This is when you're a child. You learn the attitudes, values, and actions appropriate to individuals as members of a particular culture. This is when you start to learn things like why not to hit people, how to share, how to cooperate with other students, and how to cooperate with your siblings. Secondary socialization is the process of learning what is the appropriate behavior as a member of a smaller group within the larger society. So once you go beyond the self and the smaller unit like the family, how do you fit into the rest of society? That's secondary socialization. Anticipatory refers to when you are adopting the standards, values, and social norms of a group that you are not part of. This is done to gain acceptance by that group. So this is something we can learn from other people, watching other groups, mimicking them, and trying to be part of different parts of society. This can come from school or from work or from your peers. Your first and initial agent of socialization is the family. This is where you get primary socialization, and this starts from birth. This is what they teach you how to walk, talk, the life priorities, gender roles, rules of behavior, discipline, how to deal with conflict. Most of this you get from your family and the values of your family. And if you think about this, your family are the ones who taught you how to share, how to work with other people, how to settle conflict. How you deal with those things comes directly from your parents and from your family. So this is taught by comforting and strong emotional support, love, concern for each other, attention. There are examples set for you. There's discipline involved. This is enforcing things like sharing and providing chores. This is all about learning behavior. So your parents are doing different things, or your family is doing different things to help you learn certain behaviors. So another agent of socialization would be your peer group, your friends. So this goes all the way from your earliest ages, sort of 2 to 3, up to and including adulthood. So this teaches you how to appear to others, what your interests are, things like rebelling against social norms and social behaviors, how to be normal, quote unquote, making other friends and fitting in different roles for different people, communication, conflict resolution. Again, a lot of the same concepts you might see from the primary socialization, but this comes from a different group, a more diverse group in many cases. And this is taught through being a confidant, trusting others with friendship, and a lot of times just peer pressure. So a lot of the times you'll be doing something specifically because your friends are already doing it. Another agent which you're all familiar with, of course, is school and the education system. This gives you secondary and anticipatory socialization from whatever age you enter school, 4 or 5, to 16 to 20 years old. So this teaches knowledge and skills, attitudes to function as adults in modern society. That's the function and purpose of schools. We're trying to make you guys be functioning members of society. So we emphasize certain things that we want you to learn, and other things that we don't want you to learn, we downplay or don't teach you. You learn lots of habits of mind, cooperation, reliability, lifelong learning, future planning, and time management. At least those are the things you're supposed to learn. As we know, you don't necessarily learn all of those things. How do we do this? We have, curriculum. Curriculum guides what we teach in schools, guides the way that the subjects are organized. There's hidden curriculum, however, unintentional socialization. So a lot of the things that you just pick up as being a student in a school, those are different things that we can't necessarily intend, but are things that happen, and you learn a lot from those. We give you feedback in terms of marks. We reward certain behaviors. You did very well because you demonstrated this skill, so therefore you get a good mark. So this is a feedback mechanism whereby you get information that teaches you how to be a better student or to be a better learner. Another agent of socialization would be work. This provides secondary and anticipatory socialization, so it teaches things like teamwork and cooperation, ability to complete common tasks, competitiveness, responsibility, work ethic, attitudes towards people in authority like your boss. So how do you react and interrelate with your boss? Money and time management, and professionalism. Professionalism is a very learned behavior. We don't understand necessarily what it means to be professional until you get into a particular line of work and you understand the norms and the expectations of that particular line of work. So this is taught through rules and expectations, procedures, specialized language. Think about this. There's specialized language for almost everything. If you're going to be a lawyer, you have to learn your legalese. If you want to be in education, there's all kinds of jargon that goes along with education. There's observation and consequences and learning from mistakes. So in some cases, if the mistake is big enough, you could be fired. But that would be a learning experience whereby the agent of socialization has influenced you by removing you from that particular institution. You can't ignore the influence of religion. This is secondary and anticipatory socialization. In some cases, it can be primary, hence the question mark at the end of that one. So you would learn moral issues and behavior, spiritual beliefs and guidance. In some cases, you learn right versus wrong. This is the basis of many religious beliefs, what is right and what is wrong. This teaches you the way of life and living according to a particular dogma and a particular belief. So this is given through rules, prayers, places and communities of faith and worship, and separate schools. So you would get this religious-based learning dependent on whatever your faith is. Culture can be all three of the socialization methods. It can have primary, secondary, anticipatory. It teaches all aspects of life: behavior, beliefs, perceptions, language, gender roles, dress, traditions, way of life, lifestyle. All these things are cultural, and culture is pervasive throughout our society. So a lot of this is just passed down through tradition, customs, and rites. You look at things like the Maasai warriors here. This is a very tradition-based society. So things like rites of passage would be considered parts of culture. This teaches you a lot about what it means to be a functioning member of that society, what it means to be a man or a woman in those particular societies. And of course, we can't forget the media. The media plays a massive role, probably the largest role that we've ever seen in terms of media and secondary and anticipatory socialization. So it teaches you almost everything: attitudes, thinking, values, taste, how to act, what's cool, what's not cool. And they teach this through, well, sometimes false information. And we look at this as saying, absolutely unquestioning, that this is information that comes out there and it's up to us to filter it out. In many cases, we don't. Stereotypes. We look at the desensitization of audiences. We look at the ideal. And we look at media and its unreasonable expectation and unreasonable portrayal of the male and the female form. So these are some very negative aspects of socialization, but we internalize all this stuff from media. So you get media everywhere you go, guys. TV, radio. I'm assuming most of you don't read newspapers or magazines, but the information is definitely out there. Everything from advertisements to every single thing you see every day can be media. So thinking about all these things and how they work together, you can see why there's so much at play in terms of our society and what shapes us to do the things we do. So the social trends that we're going to be looking at play on a lot of these different things, and these agents of socialization in some cases are weighing more heavily than others depending on the trend. So now that we've learned some of these agents of socialization, it's important to keep these in mind when we look at the way things have changed in society, the patterns and the trends and the different types of things that emerge in our society. Think of all the things that are at play at the same time and all the ways that we are influenced by different parts of our society.